Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
LynnRose, everybody!
Thank you. Mwah. All right, so I'm totally pulling Mike Koenig's right now and doing, you're on Periscope! Woo! You're going to learn about all that it is!
Oh!
All right, I'm going to turn this over to Bob so he can monitor over here. Awesome. Okay. So, and we did have the request, so Alan, we do honor all requests. And Alan asked if I would sing. For those who don't know, I come from the world of entertainment.
I didn't know about this.
It's only a verse and a chorus, just to energize. I'm not doing qigong, but it is the same concept of getting in our bodies and energized and ready to receive the information you're about to receive. Because I'm about to vomit a shitstorm on you to learn, okay? How's that? I said the shit word. Okay, so, sorry, Periscope.
Storm.
Okay, so, if you guys put your hands together like this, all right? Woo! A little exercise here. Okay, too fast. Are you ready? Ready when anybody can be. Are you ready? Woo! Ready when anybody can be. We're ready for you. I hope you're ready for me. I feel so good, like never before. I'm on fire and I'm ready to score. With TNT, I'm feeling dynamite. It feels so good when you're doing it right. So ready, ready as anybody can be. Ready to life, ready to be living free. One more time. We are ready to be living free. That's just to wake up. That's just to wake up, right? Because it's the end of the day. But this is really important. So I'm really, something hot in here this season. So I'm really excited and passionate about sharing this with you because it so ties into a lot of what we're hearing. It so ties into what I know everyone is spending so much time, focus, and effort in learning about conversions, how we can get that engagement, how we can better serve our list, how we can learn about what their needs and problems are. And so much more, that this one tool that is revolutionary, that brands are hopping all over, that is going to change the landscape of TV, of marketing, of social media. So I'm very excited to share with you. And I know we took a little poll, but let me just do it again. Who has obviously heard of Periscope, so I can firsthand see, okay? Who has maybe gotten Periscope, tried it, but gone, what is it? There's a lot of people talking about stubbing their toe or just sitting on a couch saying nothing. Right, okay? So there's a lot of that, okay? However, there's amazing ways to use it, an amazing community that is building and what's happening, okay? So who does not know Periscope, not heard of Periscope and going, and what does that mean? That's on a submarine, I thought, right, okay. So Periscope is a new tool in social media that has been put out by Twitter. So it is directly linked to Twitter. And it is live streaming from your phone. So it is mobile. Oh, by the way, I need to set my little timer here so I keep track of time. 1 second. Commercial pause. Okay. Okay, there we go. So tied into Twitter, and it's live streaming from your phone. So imagine if you're Twitter and you're typing something, but now you're actually speaking it and interacting. And you have on here, let's see if I can show, well, that's not what I'm wanting to show. Tech person, please, to show the slide here. And I can give you a little still frame of what it looks like on your phone. It has interactive chat. And, let's show it for a second. Can we back it up one slide?
Yes, ma'am.
There we go, thank you. All right. This guy actually, he's doing great. He's only 23 years old. He has 100,000 followers on Periscope. Periscope just started 4 months ago. And he is killing it already and working with brands and high-level consulting. He saw the opportunity, he ran, and he leveraged it in the right way, in all the smart marketing ways. And I interviewed some top Periscope experts that are really leveraging this tool in a great way and told them, I'm going to be sharing with this high-level mastermind. I want to know some strategies that's going to serve us here not just the average user or someone starting out. And so they gave me some amazing strategies, and I'm like, oh my God, wait till we share this. Okay, so it's one thing to have a tool, but it's another thing knowing how to use it, right? So I heard talking about, I'm just gonna jump ahead here, but I might say things in different, because I'm so excited again, I'm just like, before you got here, I'm a Periscope crusader. So I heard everyone talking about, oh my God, and it was Mike talking about JJ, saying she learned more about her audience in those 2 days than in however many years.
2 hours.
2 hours, right, in however many years, right? That's one way that you're going to see how you'll be able to really tune into your audience and following into you. There's so much more to this too. But let me tell you how it works first, and then I'll tell you some case studies and some metrics as to what's going on. And then I will even take us through and how to use it. Now, if you haven't already installed it on your phone, you might, as we're sharing with you, go ahead and get proactive. Whip out that phone and get on Periscope. It's an app, Periscope, download it, and you want to tie it into your Twitter if you can. That's the smartest way and most strategic way is to tie it into your Twitter. You don't have to. Don't worry if you haven't even done anything with your Twitter account. Form a Twitter account if you don't and tie it into that, because Twitter is a search engine. It's not just another way to engage if you're not actively using it, but it's a search engine, and Periscope will be able to handle that with you and for you. Okay, so by the way, I just had fun. Doesn't everything have to have like 3 C's? So I thought connection, collaboration, and conversion. And really, Periscope is an amazing tool for all 3 of those things. So what happens is you start a broadcast at any time. It's great to have set time that you're gonna have a broadcast, or know you're gonna have it at a certain time, and let your list know or your following know leading up to it, and you can have a live interactive Periscope. But you can also, the great thing about Periscope is you can be doing this at any time, it might be in the airport, might be in a cab, you might be just at home. We got a little bit of time here to tune in, and they get the people who are following you get a notification that you're on live. And then they can go on and know that you're on live. Almost like as if you got a little blurb on your mobile phone like a text, but instead of paying SMS text to be sent out, it's just on Periscope. You're going live and they get that da-da-da sound, which means now you're on live. Okay? Yeah, it's a great way to like keep them connected to you. And then the chat comes up here, and this is their name, and then that's what they're saying here. There's little emojis if they want. And then you can interact and answer and connect with them. And it's very important in this community. And by the way, I've made this just really raw and real in this sharing with you, down and dirty. I don't have a million slides, because Periscope itself is about being raw and real. I mean, I do Periscopes with no makeup on and a baseball cap. You know, it's like they love seeing what's behind the scenes. They love seeing who you really are. It's great to take them behind the scenes. What's that?
I'm sharing your stream
Oh.
online.
Oh, are you cool? All right, awesome. Awesome. So, and I'm at LynnRose if you are on Periscope and you want to jump on, but just put down the volume so we're not all hearing echoes of the stream playing. So anyway, in the interactive chat, it's a great way to tune in. Now we all know, as you guys heard people talking about them, there's the naysayers or there's the trolls that might show up. It's going to happen anywhere in social media. But what's great with the way Periscope works, as a chat is coming up, if it's someone who is causing trouble, or sometimes they like to come on any scope, they just happen to find yours and they go, F you, or they say, you're ugly, or whatever they say. And it almost becomes like a fun game, because everybody knows that just exists out there, and you just tap on that and click block, and they're instantly blocked. And actually, I know John Ehrlichman, who does tech trivia for CNN, or CNBC, I think it is, and he has such fun. Whenever he blocks a troll, he goes, block, yeah! He makes it like really fun, and everyone's like, yeah, on the chat. So it's the most amazing tool for engagement. They are rabid fans, and these followers, okay? And these are hearts, and this is kind of the currency like likes is in Facebook, but what happens is it's in real time, so if they're liking what they're hearing, they tap their screen, and for every tap comes a heart. And you get all these streams of hearts. And then they have a currency of hearts. Now, I do want to say something, is that Bob and I have been on Periscope since the night before our Mastermind back in March, which was the first day it was unleashed. And Mike that second day came on and said, hey, you're on Periscope, this just came out, right? And he and I just been kind of playing with it, experimenting with it, watching, observing, listening, taking notes. And now that I've done some research, it's like now getting ready to be strategic with it. So I just want you to be aware that we haven't even fully implemented the implications as possible. But I do have case studies of people who have, and I'm going to share that with you. Let's see, so much to share. Let me put my screen here. I wrote down so many notes. Let's see. Okay, got that out. All right, so a lot of trendsetters in our business have seen the power of this are now really diverting their attention and focus to Periscope as a vehicle for building their following and for creating that engagement and using that tool to amplify what they're doing. Some are even coming to it to make it most of what they're doing. Randy Gage, how many of you guys know Randy Gage out there? He is a crusader for Periscope as well and feels everyone should be on there, especially if you're a brand, a speaker, author, coach, or expert, and what's possible for you in your business. And I'll share some things I've even personally seen when I've been on some scopes. Jeffrey Hazlett, if you know Jeffrey Hazlett, former CMO of Kodak, he has a show on CNBC called C-Suite, and interviews the top CEOs of companies. Deepak Chopra, a lot of celebrities. And then major marketers. Do you guys know Grant Cardone? You know Grant Cardone? So he's on Periscope. You know, he's already been kicking butt in his business. But now, ever since he's been on Periscope and using it strategically, he's making a whole, what I've been told, to quote Mark Shaw, who's a Periscope expert, making a boatload more money via some of these strategies. And also Matthew Santoro, who is a YouTuber, has 4 million subscribers on YouTube. He is now on Periscope and directing a lot of his attention to Periscope. Apparently there's some famous YouTuber who has millions of followers and even kind of just left it to give it her full focus on Periscope. Now, to let you know something about Periscope, Periscope came out, was it 4 months ago, like the night before our last Mastermind. It's a great marker. And in 10 days, they had 1 million users. I forget the stats of how long it took YouTube to get 1 million users and how long it took Twitter to get 1 million users. But then in 3 months, they had 3 million users. And at the 3-month mark, at 1 day's worth of streaming was the equivalent of 10 years of content absorbed nonstop. In YouTube, 1 day's worth of content is the equivalent of 100 years of content streaming nonstop. So imagine in 3 months, Periscope is 1/10 of YouTube. So can you get the implications of what's going on? It's an incredible time to jump on now. Because those who did for Twitter, I saw when Twitter first came out. When it first came out, I really wish I paid attention. When it first came out, I went, what is this? It just didn't make sense, and I kind of came back to it a year later, and I started making sense. Maybe it was a couple years later, I even forget exactly when. But my friends that I know that were trying to tell me about it, and were crusaders like I am right now about Periscope, they had hundreds of thousands of followers. And they didn't necessarily have a database like you guys had. They just started raw. She's a very famous example. Amanda Oleander, if you in the Periscope community, you may have heard of her. Amanda Oleander started on day 1 of Periscope, but she worked it. She was doing a lot of scopes throughout the day, just a little time to interconnect. And she's a painter, and she'd talk about her painting. And she, in 3 months, got a following of 175,000. And now, in one month later, it's now at, no, she was at a following of 145,000 in 3 months. And now 1 month later is at 275,000 following her on Periscope. And she always has, I shouldn't say always, but you know, I've seen her have 1,000 or more at any given time when she's on. And there's so many other things I'll share with you about examples of how this is working for people who work it. And by the way, I also want you to know that I'm going to be giving you a lot of strategies and things that I've learned and ways to use it. But I'm so passionate about Periscope that I'm actually going to be doing an in-depth training for my clients and my friends, and would love to for you guys too, for those who want beyond here, really learning all the more specifics and ins and outs. Right now, I feel my job is to give you the broad stroke and then specific strategies on what you can do and use, and then you can figure out certain other specifics on how to use it in this training or on your own, but to get that commitment to get behind it.
Yeah, Lynn, what we might do is our next, rather than do a call, we'll do whatever technology we use, but we'll do that in our next monthly. You guys like that?
Yeah.
Because there's no way Lynn's going to have time to go into that detail.
And you know, Bob and I were talking, like, we have ideas of seeing certain of you guys here, how that would work for you, and with some people it's different. For some people, they might have a company and they don't want to be the face of what's talking about it, but there's ways within the company that you can use it. You even have several different people within your company, like Glenn, and you know, you have different people in your company using that same Twitter name and showing what's going on behind the scenes. Okay, let me just continue sharing some other examples of what's possible, what's been happening for people using it, and then I'm going to give you the strategies. So let's see, Mark Shaw, it took him 7 years to get a following of 30,000 on Twitter. And he went on Periscope and in 3 months got a following of 30,000. And he says, you know, at any given time he tends to have 350 people or so show up for him and is interacting. And sometimes it might be a little less, it just depends on time of day. But imagine with the number of followers that you guys have, if you're migrating them to mobile, and think about mobile, that's with them everywhere, and that speaks so much louder than an email, right? And to have them with you at any given time, the priceless way of how you can connect and how you can leverage that. Let's see. So I'm going to share with you at the end some of the experts that I interviewed, and even give you their information if you want to follow up with them. You know, I told them, and they're happy and eager to connect with you and offer whatever perspective and ways for them as well. One is Brian Fanzo of iSocial Fans, and he works with big brands like SanDisk and Applebee's, and he gave me a case study of Applebee's. So Applebee's wanted to do a promotion of, on this one day, giving away 5 million appetizers or something like that, and see what type of word they could get out, or what type of, they had a landing page to expand their community and grow their community, something of that nature. But they only used last year Twitter and Facebook event, all right, and had a certain level of results. This year they did the exact same strategy, exact same kind of messaging, everything was the same, except they also utilized Periscope and Meerkat. Meerkat, by the way, is already now being passed up by Periscope, if you know what Meerkat is. Meerkat is also a live streaming technology, and there's some really good value to it, but Periscope now already has more users than Meerkat. Plus, it's tied into Twitter, and Meerkat's been blocked by Twitter. And gee, I wonder why.
They were purchased.
What's that?
Periscope was purchased.
Periscope was purchased, right? But Periscope is through Twitter, so they want to drive people to Periscope instead of Meerkat. Obviously, there's hacks to still go ahead and get your streams, put onto Twitter. But Periscope, as soon as you go live broadcast, it connects to your Twitter and broadcasts for you that you're live on Twitter. And in your headline, just like a headline or subject line is everything, that subject line of what your live broadcast is everything. That's what people who've never heard of you before, you come up in the stream of live broadcasts, will make them see, oh, what's this about? Let me see and check this out. And your tribe will find you. Believe me, the people who are just like bachelors who could give a crap and want to talk about beer, they've got their tribe, The young kids have their tribe. The people who are motivational have their tribe. People who want to talk about relationships and sex. I mean, really, they're finding each other. And they're really supportive. We were having a conversation with fellow Periscopers about how there's like people wanting to support each other. Mike was even talking about on the chat, on the live cast, they want to if they see trolls or people who are kind of not in support, they kind of come to your defense, right? So that is available to you there. So back to Applebee's. So 1 year later, now utilizing Periscope and Meerkat, they had a 40% upkick in people being driven to their opt-in landing page. So, and that's the only addition was that live streaming. And brands are leaping on board, Target, Kellogg. Here's another great thing that you might look at. I wish I could remember the name of the company, I apologize. This I had heard about, I didn't do this actual research, but there was a company that decided to have all those in their company be on Periscope at the same time and broadcasting and showing behind the scenes, and it took over Twitter, took over the whole live feed, and it made international news and media, just from this one little company deciding to have a fun way to approach it. So let's see, here is another case study that Brian of iSocial Fans, one of his clients, has only 50,000 on his email newsletter, but he wants to get that database over into mobile as well, so he can have that immediate interaction and be able to leverage that. And so he sent out in one email to his newsletter that he's going to be doing a broadcast Friday at 7 or something, and driving them to go there and be on there, get on Periscope, and they have to give them something to get education about it. But you can create a quick video. There's videos out there already established that can help people understand about it. I'm happy to do one for you if you like. I'm so passionate about it that I'm like, hey, I'll do it. Or Bob will do it.
Alrighty then.
Anyway, he sent that one email out. And on that Periscope, on that Friday at 7, so he only had 50,000 in his following. He ended up having, you get the exact number, 983 people on his live broadcast, live with him. That's not counting then the replays. Because then here's the other thing, the replays are only up for 24 hours and then they're gone. So there's inherent scarcity. But you can save, auto-save to your phone, and if it's something you want to save, you can then repurpose later and post on your YouTube. And there's a new thing, and those of you who know Periscope may not know about this or not yet, and we are so excited, and it's called catch.me, K-A-T-C-H.me, and all you do, it's free, you sign up into it, and now it knows whenever you broadcast Periscope, it will save all your scopes with the comments and the hearts for you. Catch, K-A-T-C-H.me. So anyway, so he had 1,000 on there, and before he had then kind of put the word out, and he just was starting a Periscope, he had 150. Hey, that's not bad. Like, how hard do people work to get people on webinars and things like that? And what's great, isn't one of the things we hear talking about wanting to have fresh blood, wanting to reach new people, as well as keep that engagement with those that you've cultivated. And you will get new tribes like crazy. Now, when people are on your scope and you're sharing valuable content, you can tell them, invite your followers. There's a share feature where they can go in and invite their followers on Twitter and invite their followers on Periscope. And you can say, invite your followers, this is really valuable. And that helps bring even more people that may not have known about you to your scope. And you can even do something where you're going to reward them. Think about your marketing mind. For everyone who invites their followers, I'll give you XYZ. And you can go back in the replay and see who that was and be able to reward them through Twitter. Following you so far? Yeah? Any questions before moving forward, just on how it works or how that's good?
So, with respect to this, with respect to this, so no one can really see it or know anything about it unless they download the Periscope software. Like, it's not anyone in Twitter, but
actually now you can watch from the web. People don't have to download the Periscope app.
Through Twitter?
Through Twitter.
So
On
they
Twitter,
could see you could say, hey, I'm on now, click here, and they could watch without downloading.
That's correct.
Oh, that's good.
But they can't interact.
They can't interact and ask the questions, only if they have the app on their phone. And even then, the first 200 or so that get in. Because if you have 1,000 people, they limit it to about 200. But people come in and come off, and so sometimes even if someone comes in the middle, they are able to then interact with chat. Like I've chatted with Amanda Oleander, the one that has thousands at a time, when she does her thing. Okay. And she, by the way, has now gotten so much press because of this meteoric rise and having this kind of following, and of course all sorts of brands and sponsors. By the way, brands, we've already been approached to have sponsors and like product placement. And Mark Shaw, who I'll give you his information, he is now connecting brands, even if it's small businesses or folks like you, to Periscopers if you want them to be talking about your product or whatever that might be. Because that's valuable. You see someone who is someone else talking about it. So that's.
How does the product placement work?
It's a number of ways. It could be that, let's say if it's just a hat or something, they have a hat and they might talk about the hat or maybe what the hat represents. They could be talking about the great meditation that they did. I mean, I would think I'd want to keep it authentic, but there could be something, hey, you know, let folks know and you can send them and I'll give them this free book and just send them to this link. And you can make it a specific link so you can track it. You know that whatever went through that link came through this.
I just wanted to
Oh my
address
gosh,
Bill's.
I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
that's okay. Just to address Bill's question.
Is this working?
Yes.
I think I heard somebody talking about like there's people who do cooking. They'll cook a recipe live, for example, and they'll use this or that brand of appliance, right? So there's some product placement. Hey, I'm using my Cuisinart whatever to do the whatever, and then that's one way to do it too.
And actually, I mean, this is just a joke, but seriously, Charmin is one of the brands that's within this group of sponsors that they were kind of talking to us about. And one time, Bob and I on our radio show did this funny thing, and Eva Gregory was on with us. It's a funny thing about, are you an underer or an overer? How do you do your toilet paper? And we thought, hey, we could do a fun show about, are you an underer or an overer? And have Charmin or whatever that is. That's just, you know, ways to start thinking about how it can work. You had a question.
So then, yeah, if you were going to mail your list about an upcoming episode, is there a link? Can you just use a redirect to your channel, or how would that work best?
Bob, do you want to address that? I mean, I can, but do you want to address that best? Oh, here you go.
Not until I have a microphone.
Thank you, Bob.
No, the link to the actual Periscope is generated the moment you start it. So you would have to tell them to, you know, either follow your Twitter feed, or it could be posted. There's a number of different
Let me
ways.
answer that.
Couldn't they just use a redirect?
No.
Command.
What you need to know is you just tell them to turn on their notifications.
Yeah.
Get the Periscope app and turn on their notifications, and you're going to be on at this time. There's also, they can look up your profile. I'll show you guys, if you can go to the next slide. If you go ahead, can you just move it to the next slide? Right here, if you see this, that's a people icon. You would have them click on that. Up comes this magnifying glass. And then you can type in your name or your @ name. And then they can go find you and see the broadcast. I mean, that's a more complicated way to do it. It doesn't have to be that way. I would just turn on the notifications and be there at that time. They'll get the notification, and they click play. And Michael.
Yeah, as soon as you start your Periscope post, it'll notify anybody that has the app installed on there. You can do a redirect. So if you do like a third-party link redirect, like like Pretty Link or whatever, then you can already have that link published and have sent it out to your audience and said be there at this time. And as soon as you hit go on there, it generates the link and just swap it out with whatever you had in there, any placeholder page, and then go for it. So you can have one link if you want to.
In the meantime, you just link your channel or your profile.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then swap it when you start. Okay.
Do you guys follow it so far? Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yes.
Is there
you need a microphone?
It's a quick one. Is there an automated way to do what you just said? Once I start a broadcast, I'm not changing links on.
Yeah, there's not one that will create it for you automatically like that. I think maybe Bitly will or something like that. So yeah, if this and that, ifttt.com will automate a lot of that stuff. But even if it's just, I mean,
it takes you a second.
Yeah, it takes you a second or two to do it. If you're doing it from your phone and you can do it like a Bitly or any of those third-party link shorteners, will interface with that. I don't think I've seen a Periscope if this and that. Is there one?
Not yet.
Not yet. So as soon as that's created, then it'll automatically do that. Maybe that's something for somebody to get done.
And Bob uses.
But I do use it because since it's posted on your Twitter feed, there is this and that with that. So as soon as it sees that scope, it goes to the Facebook page.
So what Bob was saying is that on if this then that, it does Periscope posts on your Twitter feed automatically as soon as you start, since it's a Twitter company. So since then, if this and that can then syndicate it from your Twitter feed directly out to your Bitly or to a Bitly link or something like that. Yeah.
Right, and it can also, at the same time, proliferate wherever you're wanting to proliferate it to. So be able to post to YouTube, to Facebook, right? And
Facebook, my WordPress blog, everything is all done.
If it was me, I would send out previously to that and just already have a link set up like John was saying.
Okay, great. So I'm just being mindful of time, going to drive this forward, and just know we'll do an in-depth thing so you can really understand, because there's some really key strategies that I think when you hear, will go, oh, I see how to use this, especially to really leverage the engagement and leverage the following, okay? And do we have a question?
Taylor's getting her workout. I was just going to say, I think
maybe for a lot of us, I'm thinking to myself, this is less about sending out an email to my list of basically old fart guys, for the most part.
I'm on your list.
I know. They're not going to have Periscope, but it sounds to me like this is a way to get new, like you said, fresh meat. So,
You're over
literally.
She doesn't think it's going to take
I would encourage them to get onto Periscope so you can all more deeply engage with them.
But tell us specifically as well just how to get more Periscope meat.
Yes. So let me.
Okay.
But I was thinking the same thing as well. It's actually, I mean, you've got old guys, but I mean, our market's average age is 50. Like, I was thinking exactly the same
But
thing.
the age range, at least the general age range is 16 to 64. That's on
What's the average? What's the average?
There's, I don't know necessarily the average, but they say it's heavy in the like 50 to 64. Yeah. Wow. And then it's in the young generation, of course, is huge on it.
Yeah.
So so here's Q&A sessions, okay? You can use a live Q&A with your company founder or interviews with your JV partner, hello. And you can know that you can even say to your email list ahead of time that you're going to be doing that, or even be doing some Periscopes as you're having fun, talking about what's coming up at this certain date and time. And that or just whenever you're showing up, you're having Q&A sessions. But there's a way that you start seeing what are they hungry for, learning what they need. Like Susan was talking about, she wants to survey her men. Yeah. What is it they want? Well, tell them you're going to be taking an interactive chat survey on Periscope, and you're going to hear from them and new people on Periscope, and start surveying them that way. Okay, live support. So, same support ticket coming up a lot. You can have live support that way. Live tutorials. So if you want to talk about how you do something, they love those kind of things, the how-tos. And I'm saying this fast, but we can share more time on this on a deeper training. Live focus groups. By the way, I didn't mention this yet. This has a capability feature. It's not showing it on here. But it has a capability feature when you go to broadcast where you can make it private or only to certain people or certain groups of people. So for your memberships, or for just even a few people. It's another way too to be able to just cultivate them and within the Periscope community. Okay, let me go to the next one when we get a chance. But live product demonstrations. By the way, here's a way for us to think about. You're working on a product, take them inside in your office with your baseball cap on saying, okay, so we're working on this new product, we're really excited. You start building up that awareness and excitement. And we're wondering, should we go with the yellow or the blue on the front cover here? What do you guys think? And they're chatting in, they're like, so we were covering this, and just start asking them and getting their feedback and getting them excited and what you're thinking about. Another thing that Brian Fanzo said, which I thought was brilliant, is talking about, okay, on Thursday, we're gonna be sending out this email, we're gonna be talking about these 3 things. And so you guys wanna make sure on Thursday that you open your email and check out those 3 things we're gonna be sharing with you. And if you're not on my email list already, go to so-and-so and you'll get the XYZ free thingy, And you can set up, as you guys know already, your Marketing Mind knows, you have a special link that just through Periscope would determine, who came through Periscope to find and opt in for you.
So you can post a link under your broadcast?
What you can do in your title, put that link, and you just tell them that after they're done on the live or come back to replay, or just they can actually, while they're watching you, swipe to the right or up, depending if you're on Android or iOS, and see the title and get your link right there.
You click it?
And I don't think
I
it's
can't
clickable.
click it. You just make it super simple.
Okay.
But it's really simple. But and people, once you say the link, people will just type it in the chat. I mean, they really are helpful. They like supporting that. They say announce flash sales. So bear in mind, it's only a replay for 24 hours on Periscope. So you can have a special code that it's going to last for 24 hours. You don't have to do any other special dealio other than just saying the special code at wherever you're driving them. All right? Live tours, they love to be taken behind the scenes. Just take them behind the scenes unabashedly. It may seem normal and everyday to you to be going to a mastermind in San Diego, but they love being taken inside that experience of walking into the hotel and saying hi to somebody. They just love feeling that personal experience and who you are. Now it's so raw and real. And one thing that's real important is that you engage. is that it's a conversation. You're not talking at them, you're not just giving them content and dumping content on them. You're interacting like it's a conversation. Granted, you can't answer every single little chat that might pop up, but it's an interactive conversation. And then people feel heard, they feel part of that tribe because it's so interactive. They're not watching some static video of content or commenting later. So they want to get on there again and try to interact with you again.
How do you see what they're saying when you're recording the video?
So it's live streaming. Oh, that's cached. We can go to the next thing. So you're live streaming. So, oh yeah, if you can go, that guy right there. This is our strategy fire hose. So this is Alex Pettit. And so as he's talking, the chat is scrolling up. It's scrolling up as he's talking, or as you're talking. Okay. And you see yourself as you're talking.
You see that.
Or if you double tap the phone screen and then it points out, or double tap and it points back at you. So you can easily point in or out without having to turn it, and you always can watch the chat that way. And Sonia has a question. We need a faster mic here. I'll just come on up. Yes, Sonia.
So when someone is, saying F off or whatever, does the whole world get to see it, or can you moderate that before it actually shows up?
Whoever's on there with you will see it. But here's one thing to know, is the Periscope community knows that happens. It's just, it happens. There's trolls out there, there's people that happen. It starts happening less and less for people. There's something about, I don't know, the energy of who you might be that it doesn't necessarily attract it as much. But you can even make it fun, so you block. And you can make it a lesson when you block and go, oh, that's fine. Well, they needed to, say something. That's how they needed to express, but that's not the kind of conversation we have here with us.
You just have to be resilient.
Yes, exactly. Talk about resilience. But I've had that happen, and then I was on there, and some troll came and went, "You look like a grandma." I'm like, don't say that to someone who's worried about her age now. I'm just kidding. But I said, oh really? Well, I love my grandma. My grandma's gonna be 100 years old. In fact, I'm gonna go see her, and I just went block, and I went, that's not the type of conversation we want here. It just made it really fun and inclusive. All right.
Do I have a babble as a witch?
I just wanted to comment that since Lynn is on right now, I could flip it to say hello. But she's got a group of regulars that have sat here with us the whole time, and they're commenting how weird it is to watch her not interact with them.
Oh, I know. Sorry.
Because she's,
sorry, guys.
So if you could just say hi to them.
Okay. Are they there? Where are they? Oh.
Well, I'm pointing at you.
Hi, guys. So glad you're here. I know.
Because it's such an intimate experience that they get used to that relationship.
Exactly.
And what is there a governing or an editing group, like on YouTube, if I wanted to dance and then I play Uptown Funk and I don't pay ASCAP fees, they're going to tear it down. What goes on there? Like if you play a song that you're not supposed to play, nothing?
So this is the Wild Wild West, and everything's happening really fast. And they were initially trying to pull back on showing, let's say, public events or seminars. Yes. But what they've now come to is that in fact, if it's smart, let people Periscope at your event and be able to get the word out there about you all the more. However, if a venue specifically says no Periscoping, then you don't Periscope. And that's now the rule as it stands, and it could change. And by the way, in a week, Periscope's coming up with an update. So there's some really fun updates that are coming, and I'm not sure if it's in this coming update or later. Meerkat has the option, Periscope doesn't yet, where it can play live, embedded. We can do a hack to make that happen. But also at the end comes up a call to action card, like a YouTube card, and a button they can click. Okay, so that will be coming from what I've been told by those behind the scenes. You can take audience behind the scenes, follow your clients or customers, people who've been really faithful and tuning in, you can now kind of go peer into them. Also, there's geotagging, so you can see if they have their location sharing on, you can see where they are scoping in from, actually right down to their street. But you can really get inside their interests and where they're located. 5 minutes, great. There's so many things here. And when I do this training, I'm thinking of bringing on these experts as well, who even know vastly more than I do here to share with you, but I've been studying this now recently. Tracking to the link or code you give them. Okay, who here serves other thought leaders or experts, speakers, authors, coaches? That's part of your audience who serve. It is of service to them to let them know to use Periscope, especially for people starting out. That's a great tool as well. I saw someone who had only 4 people in her scope. She had just started, she only had 4 people. Somehow they discovered her, and she was doing intuitive readings. And so she just had them ask a little question in chat, and they would do an intuitive reading. But it's inherently limited because it's a chat, they can't really go deeper. So she said, I would really love to say more, but it's a public thing, we should be private and have more time. And she got that client right there on the spot. That guy was like, yes, I want more, and they made an arrangement to have that client arrangement on the spot. We discovered someone who was just awesome at what he did, interacting, really funny, making up songs on the spot, and I had a great idea for him, and I said, why don't you tell your audience, you drive them, come up with a domain, you came up with your own joetune.com, and send them to Fiverr.com, where he has, for $5, he just makes up a song on the spot. He's doing it in Periscope in 2 seconds anyway. And then they have upsells. And he made money in the first week, $500 in that first week. So people respond, they take action far faster and far more because of that interaction. Go ahead, Alan.
You might have already said this, but can people private message while...
And you can, can they private message? There is a way to do a direct message. I'm not exactly sure on this to say. I think you put a D and then their @ name, and then that would direct message them on Twitter. There's also a way while they're on with you, they don't have to leave Periscope, but they can go ahead and tweet you, and not only just share with their Twitter followers, but click the share button, and up comes the thing ready to share about your broadcast. You go ahead and get rid of that. Just write the broadcaster's name, or they would write your @ name, and then whatever message they want to send you. So they can message you while it's going on. And there's ways to reward for that. That's some of the strategies, which I don't know that I have time for. Private for memberships or VIPs. It's great networking for an event. If you think about it, if you're having an event, let them know ahead of time to get on Periscope, to share about it, and while they're there, to be Periscoping about it, and to go up to each other and get their Periscope names so they can start building their own following. It's a great way to open up the doors of connecting with each other. We didn't have time to set it up properly at Onyx event. While we were at Onyx event, we said, oh, get on Periscope while from the stage. That was not the way to do it. But even so, it got people getting to know each other and connect in ways that they hadn't before. And some are still interconnected right now on Periscope with each other as a result. Let's see, JV live event. Invite followers, reward those who do. Okay. Let's see, one more thing. Oh, okay, one other thing I just want to share with you guys. Some of you know this, but I have that song video called Everybody Tweet that I did, and it's really critical about Twitter, right? And all these cameos in it. And we've aligned with, I've aligned with the partner, Jim Carrey and Eckhart Tolle's partner, Wendy Newman. And she was working with some really high-end folks. And so now we've aligned with the UN. And we're going to do a version with celebrities, with the UN ambassadors, using their hashtag Peace Day, and about using your voice for good in social media. And I'm going to incorporate Periscope in this as well, to really ride the wave. So it's everybody tweet, but it's also going to have everybody's scope in there, and about Periscope to really ride this wave. And we're driving them to a site about bringing our voices together in social media for good. So you'll see the cameo of this celebrity, here's the cause that they're passionate about, that you can blast out and track via hashtag. And everyday people, if they want to post what they need help with, there's a whole sort of thing around it. But the last time the UN got behind a video, they had 389 million connection points. And so they expected with this, and that didn't even have celebrities in it, so they expected this, it could potentially be 1 billion. So I want to share that because I certainly also just want to say, I would love any support and help in thinking really best ways of leveraging and strategy, and certainly offering, once folks would opt in from that site and using your voice for good in social media, if there is a free product or service that could help expose you to that about, whatever, making yourself an even better person so you can do even more good in the world, like Centerpoint or something. So just let me know. I wanted to share about that too. And any other questions?
What frequency, I'm sorry, what frequency is the minimum that you think you have to post to attract an audience of, you know,
listening, sorry, okay.
20 or 30,000 people? I guess I'm thinking, you know, it's a lot of energy to start a new channel. I haven't tweeted since 2013. I abandoned that and went to Facebook. I do like the idea of the videos. It makes a lot of sense, but
so let me address that.
Is an issue.
Let me address that, because that is, thank you, because I really wanted to address that objection. Aren't we all like maxed out on our bandwidth? So like, one more thing, what? However, the point is, this is raw and real. This is about just doing in the moment. It's great to have maybe at least one day a week that you have a set time that you're gonna do a certain kind of broadcast, so you keep that consistency. And it's best or ideal if you can at least once every 24 hours. You don't have to, but why not? You're fixing breakfast in the kitchen, put it on this little tripod
You can do
thing.
it while you're having sex. It'd be like a little short 3-minute thing.
Come on, let's keep it real. It's not that long.
We have to find out the maximum time limit that Periscope can
That was a much better comeback than so I know you are, but so, what am I?
And I will tell you that there was somebody who was on Periscope that did a 24-hour non-stop live cast,
Well, there you go.
which is actually smart because so you did right.
Enough. There we go.
But actually, they don't. Now you can have racist stuff or talking about sex relationships, but you're not supposed to show pornography or have pornography on there. Sorry.
You just lost the audience.
Live casts are great, but even short casts. Deepak Chopra will do a quick 2 minutes because he's walking down New York and just taking them in and showing them New York, and off he goes. Right? You've seen Deepak doing that, right? All right, so go ahead.
Well, that was actually my question. She talked about frequency. What about length of video, where you think it gets a little too long, you're too talking head versus snippets? What do you recommend?
If you're keeping a truly engaged conversation, there's differing schools of thought because it's the wild, wild west. But people are seeing sometimes they're maybe getting ready to wrap up, and all of a sudden, somehow, new followers found them, or someone invited followers, and now they're really engaged, re-engaged. And it's good to repeat some of your content, kind of like Bill was saying. Who was saying that? You came in the middle, and Mark was saying, Mark Anthony. So, and they're used to hearing that. Reintroduce yourself because there may be new people. Tell them to follow you. You know, review the content that you just did, and at the very end, review the content. But about 15 minutes is 10-15 minutes is good. But I've seen people with 30 minutes. Randy Gage does 30 minutes generally.
So let me ask you this, it's a selfish question here, but I host a radio show here in San Diego every day. It's an hour. So I'm hearing you describe this, I'm thinking, well, why not set that up and create a visual that goes along with the audio that's hitting AM, not to mention podcasts and all of that. Would you set it for an hour?
You don't have to set it for an hour. It goes as long as you want.
Yeah.
So and you just let them know, maybe talk to them before you start. Okay, we're going to start when you guys, anything you want me to bring up in this coming hour? Okay, but once we're broadcasting, I have to stay focused, but I'll make sure I'm seeing your comments. And if you have a commercial break, you can tune in with them. I've seen musicians do this, putting this while they're playing, certainly for events. You definitely want to have times that you're interacting with them, but they love peeking in and seeing things like that as well, or taking them in the studio.
Yeah, it's like behind the scenes, and like we were saying before with the live cast, you can just adjust. Like you said, they drop off. Oh, maybe I should wrap it up. If they don't, just keep going.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah, I got two quick tips that I was just going to throw out. One of them is now Meerkat just announced they have support for remote GoPro cameras. So that's one advantage. So you can do embedded Meerkat events if you wanted to do like a pre-show before a real event. So you could technically, before you have your live cast, you can take your Twitter followers behind the scenes. I assume Periscope will probably be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And the other one is an iRig HD. It's a $100 microphone. Really nice sounding condenser. There it is. You can get this on Amazon. It plugs into your phone, and it sounds remarkable. So if you're doing remote interviews, or it comes with little stands. So if you're doing what you're doing, you just want your sound to sound really, really good. This thing sounds fantastic, and you can do roving interviews if you've got a selfie stick. There you go.
What's it called?
This is an iRig HD microphone. Just look it up, bring it up in Amazon, and for $100, I take it everywhere I go. You can do some great quality interviews.
We got one.
Great.
Agreed.
And so we're going to wrap up, but just know, those who want, we'll let you know, and we'll do a much more in-depth training and video and showing you things step by step, taking questions. I'll maybe bring on some of these experts. And there was something else. Oh, and throughout the weekend, just let me know if you want any help or whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to be
And there's others here who know.
I'm going to be sitting down with you one-on-one.
Okay, great.
Because I'm a little bit slower than everybody else.
Awesome.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Great, guys.
Awesome.